fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Deo and Siona from the Fortnite Victor Royale series from Hasbro, and this is a 2-pack of new 6-inch figures. I just found this at Target the other day. I don't even think this set was ever officially announced. We saw some leaked pictures a few months back of it showing up somewhere overseas, and now they just started showing up in Target stores. So like I said, I just found this at Target, I think last week sometime, and now we're checking it out. So I'm very excited for this one. I really like the astronaut aesthetic that these two have. I think it's very cool. And you can see they come with a host of accessories over here. So Siona has her helmet. She has kind of like a moon or meteorite back bling. She comes with a gun. And then she comes with a pair of harvesting tools over here. And then Deo has the helmet. He's got this kind of like moon inside a gyroscope back bling. He has a gun. And then he has like a kind of space rock harvesting tool kind of a thing going on over here. So pretty cool. Love the artwork on the packaging here. I think this is really cool because they're trying to minimize the plastic. You just have these small windows here to see the figures. And honestly, it's kind of hard to actually see them because you kind of have to get the light to shine in just right. It's kind of difficult to actually see them in there. Plus, they're not really properly lined up in the window, but it's not a big deal. At least I can tell they're in there. Like I said, artwork on the front looks really good. Not too much going on the top or the bottom, and really the sides you can kind of see how it is because the way this kind of like slopes down, so you don't really see like a proper like side piece to the box. And then on the back here we just see the two figures in their space outfits with the helmets on, which looks pretty fun. So I'm going to go ahead and get these two out of the box and we're going to take a closer look. So here are the two figures out of the packaging. They're both really impressive. I have the helmets on to start just because it's kind of a pain to get the helmets on and off. Well, I should say it is for Siona. For Deo, his will actually kind of just shimmy off his head, and you can kind of get it on without too much difficulty. But I'll show you how these are meant to work, and then I'll show you with Siona. So for this one, like I said, it's wide enough that you can just pop it on and off. But I think what's supposed to happen is you have to pop the head off, put this piece on, pop the head back on, and then use this dome piece, which kind of pegs in like this. And unfortunately, these dome pieces, they don't stay on amazingly. I mean, they stay on enough. If this is just going to stand on your shelf, I don't think it's going to be an issue. But if you try to handle it a lot, it kind of pops off a lot. And you can kind of see how there's kind of this ring here underneath, which is kind of meant to fit inside this ring they have here on the spacesuit. So I think it works. It looks good when it's attached. The only problem is if you want to kind of make him like look to the side or something while he's wearing it, it's kind of difficult. You'd have to kind of turn the head and then put the dome back on. But it does kind of work. And like I said, for this guy, it's really not too bad. You can kind of shimmy it on without having to move the head around, which is nice. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same for Siona, but we'll get there in a moment. There we go. Get that to click into place. This does come off a lot, I will say. But for the most part, I think it looks pretty cool. I think that aesthetic works. It's a little bit more difficult to get the helmets on and off than I would like. But I do appreciate that they included the helmets. Like I said, anytime I'm trying to pull this off, this just naturally comes off. There's not really much you can do about it. Again, unless you want to glue it, I guess, which is a possibility. But you could really only do that for Deo over here, because if you try to do that for Siona, you would not be able to get it off again. So I'm going to go ahead and just take hers off as well. So we are going to have to take this bubble piece off first, and then we're going to have to kind of pop the entire head off, which can be kind of difficult to do. You have two options. You can either pop it off at the ball joint at the base of the skull, or you can take the entire neck off at the base of the neck right there, and then this piece will pop off, as you can see. Put that off to the side, and then we'll peg the neck back on. There we go. I'm just worried that over time that's going to loosen that too much, but we'll have to wait and see. But for the most part, I guess that works. And even without the helmets, I think they both look pretty good. You can see all of the paint applications on the spacesuits. And I just love the color scheme. I think the kind of dark green with the orange for the spacesuits looks really good. And then they have the bright green hair. Just all really works in my opinion. Really fun aesthetic. And I think both these characters look great. So you can see I have their back blings on for both of them. They're very simple. It's just a little peg that just pegs into this hole in the back. So she has this kind of like small moon or meteorite, depending on what this is actually supposed to be. And it's pretty nicely detailed. Not too much going on with this one. Deo's is huge, and I don't really know what it's supposed to be, but it's the same deal where it's just a peg that pegs into his back. You can see right there. And then it looks kind of similar, like another, meteorite or something, but it's kind of encased in this like gyroscope looking thing. I'm not really quite sure what this is supposed to be. But it is nicely painted. I mean, the copper paint, the orangish copper paint is pretty nice. So I'm just going to put that off to the side. And then real quick, we do have his pickaxe, which has got kind of like a moon rock thing going on here, which I think looks pretty cool. Then it's got some nice orange plastic here, and then it's got some green paint on the handle, and a little bit of white down here. So all in all, I think that looks pretty good. And then she's got a gun, which is pretty nicely painted and molded. Little machine gun here. So that's nice. I have one of them with the weapon and one of them with the pickaxe just for a little bit of variety, but they do each have their own gun and their own pickaxe. So we'll start over here with Siona. See if we can get him to stand up for the moment. The head sculpt I think looks pretty good. I am going to raise this up a little bit. Nice face sculpt. I think the detailing there is very nice. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Nice paint applications. I think the eyes look particularly good. I think they did a nice job with that. And I really like the bright green hair. I think that looks pretty cool. The spacesuit itself looks pretty good. You have a nice bit of detailing here for this panel on the chest. And I just really like the white, the orange, and the dark green. I think that all really works well together. Now, her articulation is a little bit different from Deo's, and we'll run through it real quick here. So as we saw, the head is on a ball joint at the base of the skull, and then the neck is on a ball joint at the base of the neck. You have a nice hinge here in the shoulder, as well as a rotation. I don't believe she has a butterfly joint. I've been looking at this for a while now, and it almost looks like there could be, but it doesn't move at all, so I'm just going to say she does not have one. She doesn't have a separate bicep swivel, but she does have a hinge and a rotation at the elbow. And then she has a hinge and a rotation at the wrist. She's got, I think both of hers are vertical. Yeah, that one's vertical, and I believe that's vertical as well. Yeah, she's got two vertical hinges and swivels at the wrist. She's got kind of a ball joint here in the torso. She's got a ball joint here in the hip, as well as a thigh swivel. She doesn't have an independent waist swivel, but she does have this really nice ball joint here in the torso. I think I said thigh swivel there. We got double jointed knees, which are very tight, but work really well. And then she's got a hinge and a rotation down here in the ankle. So really nice points of articulation. Couple missing. You're going to see that Deo has a few more than she does, but I think that's kind of their version of just the male mold versus the female mold, because they tend to make them a little bit more slender. The female mold is missing a few points of articulation. We see the same thing with like the Power Ranger action figures and things like that. So it's just kind of something we see from time to time. But overall, it's a really nice figure, really nice detailing. I absolutely love the spacesuit aesthetic. The color scheme's great. Oh, we didn't really take a look at the pickaxes yet. I love these. I absolutely love these. The detailing, the paint applications. And I will say that they are a little bit of a softer plastic, but it's really nice for getting them in and out of the hands. They're not so soft that it's a problem, but they're just pliable enough that getting them in and out of the hands is actually pretty easy. So I do appreciate that. I like that quite a bit. And overall, she's just a really great looking figure. I wish the helmet was a little bit easier to get on and off, but I understand. But yeah, overall, she's a really good looking figure. So let's move on to Deo. He looks really good as well. Of course, he's got the same aesthetic in terms of color scheme for the spacesuit. And I like it even more over here. I kind of just like the weird module things here on the chest. I do like the little panel that she has on hers, but there's just something about it being symmetrical. It just is more appealing to me. I also don't really love these things that just kind of hang off the side just because they kind of wing out a little bit, whereas he's got these kind of like straps that are kind of integrated into the pants, or the legs rather. So I just think it's a little bit more successful there. And he does have the individual bicep swivel over here, which you can see. He does have a butterfly joint as well. He's also got the same kind of articulation at the base of the skull and the neck for the head. And again, really nice head sculpt. Let me see if I can get in a little bit closer here. Let's fix this up. Really nice head sculpt, really nice paint applications. That looks really sharp. I love the two different shades of green for his hair. I think that looks really cool. These are both really solid figures. But getting back to his articulation, the few things that are different. So the head's pretty much the same. The hinge in the shoulder and the rotation is the same, but he does have the butterfly joint. He's got a separate swivel here at the bicep. Then he's got double jointed elbows. So she does not, but he does. The wrists are pretty much the same. He's got the same ball joint here in the torso. He also has kind of a weird ball joint here at the waist, as you can see. So it can go a little bit side to side, and then it kind of has a weird range of motion front to back. I would say his hips are pretty much the same. You do have to be a little careful with the straps because they are connected. He's also got the thigh swivel, double jointed knees. And then he does have a boot swivel up here, as well as the ankle is kind of really nicely integrated into the boots to the point that you almost don't see it, but it does still have the rotation and the hinge. So I think they did a really nice job with that. I just really like this figure quite a bit. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love both of them. But I just think the fact that he has a couple little bit more points of articulation, the way that the ankle joint is kind of seamlessly built into the boot, and like I said, I just don't really love those flaps that she has on the side. But they're both really successful. I love the color scheme of the spacesuits. And then I think having their hair be that bright green as well just really makes it pop. And you can see they have some more detailing there on the shoulders and everything. These are really solid figures. Honestly, they feel solid. All the joints are pretty fluid. The accessories are great. Oh, I didn't really show off his gun. It's kind of plain, but it works. It looks good. And you can see he's got the trigger finger. Now, he's got one vertical wrist here. And then I think this one's a horizontal wrist. Yeah. So if you need him to use two hands to hold that harvesting tool, you have a little bit of give there with the horizontal swivel on the wrist there. But anyway, like I was saying, these are just two really solid figures. I really like these a lot. I definitely recommend them. I just think they're a great design, great color scheme, great aesthetic. The articulation for both of these is fantastic. The accessories that they come with are great, and all the accessories are really nicely detailed as well. I don't really have too much to complain about this set. I really don't. The helmets are a little wonky. I wish that they, could attach a little bit better. I mean, to be fair, once they're on there, they look good and they attach well. It's just the fact that you have to kind of, take the dome piece off, and then sometimes you have to remove the head to put this piece on, and these don't stay together as well as I would like. So it's not a problem. I just wish that those were a little bit better. But that's the only drawback. Honestly, this is a pretty fantastic set of figures, and I definitely recommend them. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.